Okay, so diving into triggers now that we understand what they are, the first one that we're going to look at is just a manual trigger because it's very simple. A lot of times when I'm testing, I'll pretty much always do a manual trigger just to, be able to test easily, and then we want to hook it up to stuff later. But all we're going to do here is click the button test workflow. This goes green. As you can see, it ran. If we go to executions, we can see that that is what just happened. Is it ran the workflow because we clicked test workflow, and obviously nothing happened, but this went green. This node was executed. So from here, let's say we actually wanted to just see how this works, right? First thing I'm going to do in here is just set up a query. Now, this is pretty much we're just setting data for the workflow to have to actually run information through. Now, we could do this in a set field after, and I'll show you guys that too. But what we're going to do is we're just going to call the field query, and I'm just going to put the dummy data that says, my name is Nate, and I am 22 years old. So now we have this string, my name is Nate and I'm 22 years old, in a field called query. As you can see, that's the field, that's the field, that's the value. We can look at it as a JSON, so we can see the way that it's coming through with sort of that key and the value pair. Or we can look at schema, which is what I like to do when we're actually building out some workflows, because if you click on schema, you're able to really easily grab the field name and like drag it into different areas. I'll show you guys that in a sec. You can also do that from table view, but I like to do it from schema. Anyways, so then I said you could also have maybe done this from a set field. So right now you can see the incoming information on the left is query. So if I drag this in here, we can see that it fills in query and the actual value, but it's going to be dynamic. And you can tell this because you've got fixed and you've got an expression right here. And basically, if it's an expression, we're going to have like variable information coming through, which is json.query. And then on the right, we're going to have the actual result, which is what we typed in. My name is Nate. I'm 22 years old. So that's how that works. But we could have also came in here and just set some static information like, let's say we're doing email address. We could set this at nateherc88 at gmail.com. If we hit test step, we'll see that on the right, we're getting our output, which is query, the one that we put in, and then email Nate Herc. And so that's an expression. This one's fixed. Now let's say we came into here and we changed this to, what does the Fox say? I don't know why that came into my brain. But anyway, so if we hit test workflow now, when we click into here, we'll see that we get the output of query, what does the Fox say, and email nateherc88 at gmail.com, because the json.query has changed because we changed it over here. And so that's just sort of how that trigger works. But it's not just to set data, it's just to run the workflow. So let's say from here, we do like an OpenAI and we want to message a model. We're going to choose our model. Let's just do a Forum Mini for right now. Okay, I scrolled past it multiple times. And then for the text, we want to drag in this information. And it's going to be an expression because this stuff changes, right? So if we did, like take the query and create an email for the following email. So now this is going to be sort of its system prompt. And then what we're giving it is we want to give it the actual query that it needs to take and the following email. So we can add a message, and this one's going to be a user. And we're going to change this one to an expression. And we can put the query in here. Call this one query because it's looking for a query and for an email. So if we put this stuff in here, we can see that it's going to come back dynamically on the right side, which is what does the Fox say. So now from here, we have information. So a couple things you can do as far as testing the workflow. Obviously, we can click test workflow, and it's going to send it through. So it grabbed the fields, and then it actually made like a little email for us, as you can see. Curious about the Fox's sound, all that kind of information. But you could also test this stuff kind of by each step. So you can come into here, and you can click like test workflow, test step, and that's only going to run this individual step. Or you could do the same thing with the play button. We can play button this one, and then we can play button this one. And so anyways, I know I got a little off topic going down fixed expression, variables. There's going to be an actual video dedicated towards just that stuff. But I just wanted to explain sort of the aspect of testing the workflow with this trigger. So let's move on to a different trigger now.